What is the slope of line B in number 1? What is its slope, Chase? Chase says 2/1. Do you agree with him? Okay, I agree with that. What's the slope of G? What's the slope of line G, Madison? 2/1. Okay. Let's do the same thing over here on number 2. We have line B and line G. What is the slope of line B in number 2? What do you find it to be, Ridley?
3.
Okay, rise of 3 and a run of 1, or 3/1, okay? What about G? What do you notice about G? It's 1/3. What kind of 1/3 though? I agree with the 1/3, but what sign is it? Negative. Because it's going in the negative direction. So it's a negative 1/3. Okay? Take a look here at number 1. What type of lines are you seeing in number 1? What kind of lines are they? These are parallel. What about in number 2? What type of lines are they? What are they, Cadence? Perpendicular. Okay. That's kind of interesting. If the lines are parallel, they will always have the same slope. Always. If the lines are perpendicular, and to be perpendicular, how must they connect? They cross at what type of an angle? At a 90-degree angle, okay? Because I can have lines that cross that don't cross at a 90-degree angle, and this would not hold true. If the lines cross at a 90-degree angle, they are perpendicular, and their slopes are the inverse or the reciprocal, and it's the opposite of their reciprocal. Okay? So like B is 3/1. Well, reciprocal for 3/1 is 1/3. But then you have to make sure you apply the opposite of that. Okay? And that will always hold true.
Had to write something, guys.
Okay? Which is what these are the ideas, the key ideas we're working with right now. Parallel lines always have the same slope. Okay? The equation of the lines are different, but the slope, the minute you see that the slope is the same, you know those lines have to run parallel. Okay? The minute you see the slope is the same, the lines will run parallel. Okay? So, now if you look at this picture, if you just look at it first glance, you might think that you have 3 parallel lines. But that is not true. Only 2 of them are parallel. Which 2 lines are parallel? Which 2 lines are parallel? So figure out the slope for each of the lines. Identify the slope of each of the lines. So what is the slope of the blue line?
Slope of the blue line is 4/1.
4 over 1. What is the slope of the red line? What's the slope of the red line? 5 over, what kind of a 1 is it? Yeah, we go. 5 over 1, now that can't,
I just
something's
got
wrong
one.
there,
I
something's
just
wrong
got
there, that's
5
my
over
fault. Let's see what I do wrong.
I'll probably change it the order.
0 minus 1,
It should be 0. It should
Yep.
be 1 minus 0.
actually, yeah, because of the way I did, I changed the order. I changed up my order. How'd I know that I was the one wrong and not him? How'd I know it, Tyler? How do you think I knew that I was wrong and not you? Look at your lines. Do any of the lines, I thought, when I had it originally in my head, I thought, well, that's negative. But then when I look back at the lines, none of these lines go in a negative direction, do they? So that I had to stop myself and go, okay, what did I do wrong, all right? That's a good way to just check yourself, okay? And then what's the slope of the green line? What's the slope of the green line? What's its slope, Lindsay? 4 over 1. I messed up on that one when I wrote it too. I can see it right here. Had to be like that, right? Yep. What did I do? Yeah, 4 minus 3 and negative 3 minus, yep. Now I got it mixed up.
It's on that. I think on the blue line it is, Mrs. Rakestraw.
It's on the blue line. Ms. Rakestraw,
Do what?
it's your figures on your blue line.
They're wrong? No, I didn't have this right.
It should be 3 minus
Negative 3 minus 1 and then 3 minus 4. There we go. And now,
Okay.
negative 2, 2 minus negative 2, and then, yeah, I got these mixed up. I got these mixed up too. It should, there we go. There we go. Okay, so which two lines are parallel?
blue and green.
Blue and green, okay? And we know that because same slope. Now I have completely answered the question. Blue and green have the same slope. They're parallel. Here's just a review of that rule. This is just that key point. Perpendicular lines, notice the slope here. On the blue, m equals negative 2. This is for the blue line. And the red line, m equals 1/2. It's the reciprocal, but it's its opposite. Okay? It always holds true. Let's find out. Find the slopes of all three lines and then determine which two are perpendicular. Again, it may appear to be perpendicular, but if those lines do not cross at a right angle, they're not. So you've got to calculate, do the math. What is the slope of the blue, the red, and the green? just look and guess. You gotta do the calculations. There you go, so that's your blue one. What's the slope of your red line? I don't know, I haven't done it, so I. Minus a negative by that opposite, you are correct, but then what do you get? You get a negative and a negative, so altogether that has to be. You agree? So it turns out, so your second line is 2 sevens, so put down one extra one. Okay, and then what is the slope of your green line? Is this the slope of green? And, but if they're both negative, then that would have to be a toggle, so something's wrong with one of them's got a negative. I don't know which one. I agree with the flip. One of them has to be zero. So look at the green. 5 minus 2 minus negative 6. That opposite that would be 7. So that would be a positive. Okay. And then 0 minus negative 2 would be that opposite. There you go. So what's your two that are perpendicular? And those are which two? Okay. Annie, what's the slope of the blue line?
-2/6.
Of the blue line? Negative.
1/3.
You said -2/6. Okay, which is the same thing as -1/3, correct? Okay. The red line, what is the slope of the red line? What's the slope of the red line, Ty?
Do I tell you the problem with it?
You can.
I did -2 minus 0, and then I did 2 minus -5.
Okay, and so what's your slope?
-2 sevens.
Is he correct? -2 sevens, okay? Somebody tell me, what is the slope of the green line? What's the slope of the green line? Somebody that hasn't talked to me yet. He's going, don't call on him. Don't call on him. You know it? Okay, so how'd you get it? And you got 7 halves, right? Okay, which two lines are perpendicular? Which two lines then are perpendicular? What's it gonna be there, Mr. Dakota?
Red and green.
Red and green. The red and green are perpendicular because their slopes are reciprocals of each other, the opposite reciprocal. Okay? That's what makes them perpendicular. So when I looked at that, could you tell by looking at which ones were perpendicular and which ones weren't? No. The only way you can know for certain is to calculate the slope. Yes?
You could take the new over -7,
discovered they're louder.
Okay, so you take 2 over -7, multiply that by 7/2. And that equals -14 over 14. You just divide those, and that would be -1. If it's -1, the perpendicular.
Very good. If you multiply the slopes of the two lines, and they multiply together, and you get a -1, they are perpendicular lines. You can check your work that way. Okay? The product of the two slopes is -1. Good job.
You did this. That's how it is.
Good job. The product of the slopes is -1. Okay? Let's put it all together here. Which two lines are perpendicular? Which two lines are perpendicular? What did you be working on? You already got it? You do? Be busy. Getting there.
3 minus zeros. Why? If you have a positive 3, you don't take anything wrong. You still have positive 3. So now, let's try that. Now, 2 minus 0. Over 0 minus -4. Okay. Is it said, well, it's not -4. So, what opposite, right? So you have -4.
Okay, so
What is -2 halves? We reduce that. Good. So that's fine green. Oh, yeah, you do.
that's a -1. Because 0 minus 1 is a -1, right? What's 1 minus -2?
Why did that become that? How did it become 1?
What do you get for the slope of number one? What's the slope on number one? Mr. Austin,
Negative 1/3.
-1/3. Everybody agrees, right?
Yeah.
What's the slope of G? What's the slope of the green one? What's its slope? You got 3/1? 3/1 is the green? And what is the slope of the red one? Negative what?
2-1.
Alright, so we need to look at something. Do you have the same drawing? Alright, because I know what I was looking over here. On the green, you subtracted -2, -2 minus 1, am I correct? -2 minus 1 over -1 minus 0, am I right there, folks? And that adds opposite, so I have -3 over -1, which is 3/1. We agree with that? Okay, I agree with you on that. What were your points that you were using on the green?
Did I got everything right?
Except for the blue?
Yeah, I got -2.
Okay, so let's look at the blue then. On the blue one, you have 1 minus 2. Do you agree with that one? Boys, you're looking at your numbers. 1 and 2 for the two y's, and then 3 minus 0 for the x. Do you agree with that? And then when you do the subtraction there, you have 1 minus 2 is a -1, and 3 minus 0 is 3, so a -1/3. Yeah, so the graph itself, you have to use your numbers. The graph itself doesn't come out that way because it's not drawn exactly right. But if you use the point, you're gonna come up with it right, okay? So that might be something just to pay attention to, always, as we're getting farther along, to use the graph. All right, that's the assignment. 12 problems. Yeah, I agree.
And then I did it the other way.
Sorry about that. Human error.
Thank you for only using 12 problems.
You're welcome.
We are practice.
Okay, so guys, help me out with understanding this tournament stuff. B team tournament is Thursday. It starts Thursday.
6:15.
Okay, so yeah, I know that's tomorrow, Thursday. And then the A team beginning doesn't start until Monday. And you just play on, is Monday the only day of the 18 one? Does it decide who's in the championship, I guess is what I'm asking.
B girls are, I know, we haven't given us a schedule.
B girls are automatically.
We have you split up.
Because there's only 18 girls get a first round
Okay,
bye.
wait a minute. B girls automatically go to the championships because there's only 3 of the teams. Okay, so,
They don't play until February 2nd.
so our B girls are in the championship.
Yes.
Okay. Does that, if there's 3 teams, that championship day, are they playing like a couple of different games then? Because if there's 3 teams,
Okay, so what happens is, so we're already in the championship. And the other 2 teams that have a B team is Mount Valley and Megaview. No, and then. doesn't have one.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't. That was their B team. Us, Mount Valley, and Megaview. That was their A
Oh, we don't
team.
need to-
so,
So anyway, Mount Valley and Megaview will play, and whoever wins that will go.
are you guys seated higher then?
Yeah, because
Okay.
they're in the.
Okay, that's what I needed to know, why, okay. And then, so the 8, now what about the B team boys? We won't know until Thursday?
They play,
I know they play tomorrow night.
they play Medview.
I know MA.
Exact same thing she just did. By the slip of blue, red, and green one will come back. Remember one.
Okay.
When?
Thomas and Reagan, do they play A team or do they play B team?
They'll play B. They'll play B.
So they're definitely going to championships then. That's what I need to do. I need to check with them. Yes. Okay, let's turn our vocals down and get busy.